request Dr. Duchania that if I speak only about terahertz and my work, it is not feasible and not understood by the audience. So that's why he uh, had my two talk there. Means I will give. So first I will introduce you what is terahertz and what what are the different methods by which we can generate terahertz. So different materials, different things which can lead to terahertz. So terahertz is nothing but a bridge between electronics and photonics, and the coming era is Tera era. So already Dr. Duchania introduced me, so I will skip this part, but I will just tell that I received my DSc from Kyoto University. Then I was JSPS at Osaka University, and I was Korean Research Fellow at Korea Atomic Energy Research Institute. I'm a member of ILA, IPA, Physics Association, Laser Association, and Optics Society of America. So in this short talk, I will tell you the history. History means how people thought about terahertz, then different methods of terahertz generation and detection like photoconductive antenna, optical rectification. Then there are high power terahertz generation method like air plasma, and I did my PhD in this terahertz generation using tilted wavefront optical pulse from lithium niobate crystal. So the story begins from Maxwell equation. Since we know the equation of motion for all the electromagnetic wave, the equation of motion for all the electromagnetic wave is Maxwell equation. So if we solve these four Maxwell equation and we use D equal to this E plus P, epsilon 0 E plus P, and if we use H is equal to this 1 by mu 0 B minus M, means 1 by mu by B, and we put these two, polarization and magnetization, in our wave equation, then we found a solution of this wave equation in terms of U, means mu, dJ by dt. J means current density, means we can generate terahertz by giving current, means current means semiconductor. We can generate terahertz using semiconductor. Then d square p by dt square. P means polarization. It means we can also generate terahertz using polarization, means crystal. Those who give second harmonic generation or those who give different frequency generation, means these kind of properties are available in crystal. So terahertz is not new. If we look this paper of Dr. Rubin in 1897, in this paper he explained, but that time he don't know that is terahertz. He said in this paper that since we have been accustomed to think a waves of electrical and light wave as forming common component of a spectrum, that common component is nothing but terahertz. That common component is in between microwave and photonics, in between electronics and photonics, infrared and microwave. So this is more than 1 century dated back. Then when Planck was solving his black body radiation formula, he said that he said that without the intervention of Rubin, that one, the formulation of the radiation law and the foundation of the quantum theory, whatever we are learning now today as a quantum mechanics, the foundation of that quantum mechanics, not that electromagnetic, but that was terahertz. So terahertz people thought it's a gap. That you see that Rubin in 1897, he said that terahertz has always been there, but we are not able to see, we are not able to capture. So he said there is a heat range, means heat means terahertz is for infrared. So they are of great wavelength. Great wavelength means they have many applications. But in up to 1923, you see, almost more than 30 years, they said that generating terahertz has just been difficult, because they saw that it's not possible to generate terahertz because it's a very narrow spectrum between microwave and far infrared. And fortunately, I will tell you that Charlestown, who makes measure and then leads to the laser, he don't want to make laser and measure that time. He want to make a terahertz source. But as a spin off, means he want to do something else, but he got something else. He got laser. So so the people are trying from the beginning, more than 1 century, about terahertz, but that was difficult. So what is terahertz? Terahertz, you see here, 1 terahertz is 1 picosecond, means 10 raised to power 12 second. 1 terahertz, in this you see 300 micrometer, means it's a sub-millimeter wavelength. It means it can pass through a cardboard, it can pass through a brick wall, means you can do imaging. You know the picosecond dynamics, which most of the 99% of material have. Is 1 terahertz is 4.1 MeV below thermal, means whatever we can see at lower temperature, we can see by terahertz at room temperature. Okay, so 1 terahertz is nothing but 1 picosecond. Okay, and 10 raised to power 12 hertz. So terahertz is nothing but a sandwich region between microwave and infrared. So we have to make a bridge in between these two, microwave and infrared. So why should, but this is terahertz. I speak about terahertz, that terahertz is important and so and so. But your question is why I want terahertz? Because its energy, as I said, it's below thermal, 4.1 MeV. You can see the fundamental dynamics. Then signature, because when you see the fundamental dynamics, most of the, actually terahertz is nothing but black body. So 99% of universe is black body. So, and 99% of the material have rotation and vibration spectrum in this particular region. So that's why terahertz, it's safer, because energy is 4.1 MeV. So it can pass through, like X-ray. If you pass through X-ray to a human body, it leads to the means damage to the cells, to your body. But terahertz will not. Then in defense, it's a many applications like homeland security. I will tell you in my next lecture: chemical, biological agent, warfare, explosive detection. You can do see-through imaging to the wall, body. If somebody is hiding gold and diamond in his stomach, you can see. But by terahertz, you cannot see. It's a commercial application. And the most important, we as a scientist are interested in research, because terahertz gives the fundamental properties. So you see various other applications, like what is inside this mail. Somebody try to put this MDMA, aspirin, methamphetamine in this mail, in this letter. Then you have to open it and see. And if you have open and see it, everybody looks like a talcum powder. But terahertz will tell you which one is which, like MDMA, aspirin, terahertz. Security in your suitcase, you are having a knife or gun. You have something in your body like diamond or gold. You can do non-destructive testing during your packaging. You can use the safety. You see the minor crack, non-destructive testing. You can check the environmental hazardous gases, which you cannot go and check the sample. Terahertz give the remote access. Terahertz is more sensible to the dangerous things like explosive, hazardous gases, because the peak lies in between below 1 terahertz, and room to room communication is much faster as compared to others. But we scientists, as I said, are more interested in material control. Material control means a As I said, terahertz have the same energy of this rotational level. So it is difficult to climb by you on this roof, but you can climb by a ladder. When you climb by a ladder, you can reach on the roof very easily. A roof means it's a different state. Now in your room and now you are going to the roof, it's a different state. So it means you can change the basic properties of a material by incidenting terahertz pulse. So now let's see what are the different techniques for terahertz generation and detection. So terahertz generation, there are many techniques like see free electron laser, people are using accelerator. But we cannot afford that. Affordability and availability is very bad because we cannot afford. It's so very, very costly. RRCAT having more than 5,000 scientists and 1,500 technical people. 500 scientists and technical 2,000 people you need to run this kind of machine. Then by black body radiation you can get, but it's very poor. By gun diode, by backward wave oscillator, all if you are somebody from electronic side, you know. But by laser pulse excitation, you can generate very fair terahertz. Optical parametric generation, photo mixing, P-type germanium terahertz emitter nowadays. But you see, the laser based are tabletop. Tabletop means you can generate inside a laboratory. Whatever I will tell you that in my next slide, that tabletop methods are same comparable as to the free electron or accelerator base. So the tabletop considered to be mostly three. One is photoconductive antenna. In photoconductive antenna, what you do, you shine a optical pulse on some gap that is known as terahertz gap or antenna gap. When you shine an optical pulse, charged particles generate. When these charged particles generate, they get accelerated by this bias voltage. An accelerated charged particle gives radiation, and that radiation is terahertz. But it's a device, it's a semiconductor. So lifetime of the carrier is restricted, and this because of this the bandwidth and power is also restricted. To overcome this power and bandwidth restriction, people try to use P. The concept of P, d square P by dt square means optical rectification. You shine an optical pulse on some nonlinear crystal which have high nonlinearity. Chi2 value must be very, very high by difference frequency generation. By difference frequency generation, any omega 1 minus omega 2 gives you terahertz. But this is a crystal. The phase match condition is very, very critical. So it is not possible to satisfy the phase match condition very easily. So to overcome this phase match condition, people try to use air as a reference. Air as a reference. So let's come to the photoconductive antenna. How to generate photoconductive antenna? So you see, let's say that we have sine optical pulse here. Some part is reflected, some part is transmitted. So laser have some power, h nu, that is equivalent to the band gap of the semiconductor, Eg. Okay. When you shine this laser pulse, excite the band gap, you create a transient current. Okay. And the derivative of this transient current gives terahertz. Very simple. So this is the Grishkovsky antenna, that kind of antenna, and this is the gap where you have to excite. Okay. This is emitter and this is receiver. These are of the same, but here you apply voltage, here you use an amplifier. So what you do, same concept you see here. You shine this optical pulse. You shine this optical pulse on this gap, and due to this charge carrier generation, you will get a terahertz pulse. Very simple mechanism. but to generate it's require high skill. It's not easy. It's not means that's why people say terahertz has just been difficult. Let's not go in much detail because I already covered the same. But means e terahertz is dependent on the current density. Means higher the current, higher the terahertz. So this is the schematic front view, top view, and the side view of an antenna. You give this kind of gold strip. Okay, means highest conductive antenna, means the material which have highest conductivity, you give the strip like this, and you keep the gap. The gap can be like in bow type, dipole, any kind of thing. I will tell maybe in next slide. So let's not go to this one too much. Okay, these are the things. So these are the different materials which we can use as a photoconductive antenna, like chromium, doped, silicon, arsenide, gallium arsenide, low temperature grown gallium arsenide, silicon based indium phosphate, ion implant indium phosphate, RDSOS, amorphous silicon, directly you can get terahertz, MOCVD grown CTT, cadmium telluride, low grown means low temperature grown indium aluminum arsenide. These are the various means photoconductive material. Why we choose this? Because of the band gap. You see, the band gap is nearby. Everybody's band gap is nearby. This band gap is required, that must be comparable with this optical pulse you are signing. So we mostly use 800 nanometer. So for this 1.3, 1 to 1.3, 1.6 is okay. Now, as you see, new material also there, gallium arsenide with O-doped, oxygen dope. That is also that have very high terahertz output as compared to gallium arsenide, almost 2 times. Now, terahertz generation depends on antenna geometry, optical pulse duration, which pulse incident power dependence, applied voltage, as I said, photoconducting antenna substrate carrier lifetime, band gap, mobility, damage threshold. So, like power dependence, higher the power, higher the terahertz, but you can give up to a threshold, because if you give increased power and power, then the antenna may get damaged. So you have to choose your threshold limit. And when you buy an antenna, you will get a certificate or you will get a letter on which it is clearly mentioned then that don't go more than, let's say, 150 milliwatt. So that is your threshold limit. Then voltage, you see, you apply 0 voltage, then 12 volt, terahertz increased. So depend on the applied voltage. Then geometry, like if you have like PC antenna, like dipole or bow tie. So these are the various geometry you see antenna. These are some are like this, some are like this, some are like this, some are like this. This geometry also. So this is the typical waveform of terahertz using photoconductive antenna. Okay, so this is the time profile and this is the frequency domain profile. We always talk about in 2 domain. One is time domain, one is frequency domain. Then second method, why I said antenna have some limitations. Limitation in terms of carrier lifetime, bandwidth, okay, threshold. Okay, semiconductor have generally lower threshold as compared to crystal. So when you are working with amplified lasers, amplifiers, those who are using laser, maybe they understand amplified laser, then crystal is the best choice because their damage threshold is very high and non-linearity is very high. So what is an optical rectification? Optical rectification is nothing but a second order non-linear process in which you shine a optical pulse on a crystal which have high chi2 value, okay? And using the difference, I will tell maybe in the next slide. Let's go to the next slide. So due to when you shine an optical pulse on a nonlinear crystal, a polarization is generated, and this polarization is rectified. Rectified means the difference is nearly zero. Omega 1 minus omega 2 is nearly zero. So you generate a polarization, and you see the second order derivative of this polarization gives terahertz. But you know, the crystal I already explained, in crystal the phase match condition is very critical. So the group velocity of the optical pulse which you applied on the crystal must be equal to the phase velocity of terahertz which you are going to generate from the crystal. That must be same inside the crystal. If that is same inside the crystal, then only you can generate terahertz. So there are various material like gallium arsenide, gallium phosphate, gallium selenide. They can be used as a semiconductor also. They can be used as a crystal also, but the most common use crystal is zinc telluride. Most common use crystal is this zinc telluride, okay? Because you see this chi2 value is very high, and it's have a phase match condition at 800 nanometer very easily, you see, okay? And refractive index is same as the group refractive index. So mostly people use just zinc telluride, but nowadays for high power people use lithium niobate. I will tell you in later slide. So as I said, what is a second order nonlinear process? So we all are familiar with this equation, second order polarization. Okay, so if we use two E1 and E2, means electric field amplitude, then if we solve this equation, we find two terms. One is sum, one is difference, means some frequency and difference frequency generation take place. So when you shine an optical pulse on a crystal, there are two things happen. One is some frequency happen, one is difference frequency. In difference frequency, if this difference leads to zero, near to zero, then we call it optical rectification. Optical rectification, and this optical rectification gives terahertz. So as I said here, you see terahertz is directly proportional to the second order derivative of this polarization, and this polarization contain chi2. So means higher the chi2, higher the terahertz. So you see here, you can see by this movie, cartoon animation, that you shine an optical pulse on this crystal, you create a non-linear polarization, and using this second order derivative of this non-linear polarization, you generate a terahertz pulse. But to generate a terahertz pulse, the crystal must be transparent in both visible and terahertz. If it's absorbing, it can absorb the optical pulse, which we shine, or terahertz pulse in terahertz region. It must have large optical constant chi2 value, okay, and it must have high damage threshold, and the phase match condition should be satisfied. So this is the typical setup for optical rectification. You use a ultra fast laser, divide this beam into two parts using a beam splitter, one for emitter, one for detector, and the path of these two parts must be same up to this detector. So you put a zinc telluride crystal here to generate this terahertz wave, and guided by this a parabolic mirror, another the beam which bifurcate is passing through this delay stage. This delay stage is 2, that you can match the distance between these two to be same, and you can get a terahertz signal here and probe signal here. These two signal must map together here on detector, and using an antenna or zinc telluride, whatever you can say, you can use detect this one. Then you use a lock-in amplifier to amplify it, and you can get on computer by using some programming. So I will not go in this mathematics. So it's a polarization dependent. Why we use zinc telluride? Because you see the refractive index is matching this at 800 nanometer is 3.27 something like that, and the refractive index of this terahertz. So at 800 nanometer they both satisfy. You see here they both satisfy at 800 nanometer. That's why we use always, most of the people use 800 nanometer. This is the reason. Absorption coefficient of this zinc telluride is like this. So you see, we use absorption coefficient like this, and when we calculate TO phonon is below the absorption. If this TO phonon is above the absorption, TO phonon is why? Because when you sine a optical pulse, 2 photon generation, 3 photon generation, 4 photon generation will take place, and that will hinder means get absorption of terahertz. So phase match condition, as I already explained you, phase match condition is very important. So you see for zinc telluride, the phase match condition is here. Phase match condition is exactly lying at 800 nanometer. That's why most of the people use zinc telluride. If you want to use gallium telluride or gallium phosphide, you need 1 micrometer wavelength. Or for gallium arsenide, 1.5 telecommunication wavelength. So this is some length dependence. Of course, it depends on the length also. Its phase matching must be fully satisfied. Efficiency goes to main layer over limit. Limit means up. This is the limit up to which you can generate the terahertz in an optical crystal. So for generation, now this is for detection, electro-optic sampling. So same crystal, zinc telluride, we use for detection. And detection, how we can do detection? You put the optical pulse of probe. This is optical sampling pulse, means this is the probe pulse. This is terahertz generated from the crystal or whatever antenna. They must fall collinearly together on this crystal. This is zinc telluride crystal. This is for also for detector now. When these two together fall on this crystal, the polarization gets changed. The polarization of this optical pulse due to terahertz gets changed. And this change in this optical polarization, change means this one, delta I by I. This change, or we call it retardation. This retardation or the change in this polarization of optical pulse will give the measure of terahertz, the strength of the terahertz. Larger the polarization, larger the terahertz. Smaller the polarization, smaller the terahertz. So how much the polarization is changed, that is the quantity of how much the terahertz is generated. Okay, so same, you see, I depict again. So you have optical pulse, you have terahertz pulse. You shine this in this EO crystal, electro-optic crystal. So your initial polarization when there is no terahertz is like this. Okay, it's a plane, perpendicular, linearly polarized. But when we have terahertz, this linearly polarized gets circulated polarized. Okay, and by lambda by 4 we convert this circular polarized into elliptical polarized. Okay, and this elliptical polarization gives this measure of terahertz. Very simple. but doing is very, very difficult. Okay, same again, the same means I depict like these are the two planar wave, and this how this circular wave is formed, and by this circular wave how terahertz is detected. Same concept, but for more understanding, those who want to understand. So this is how you generate the terahertz. You use this equation to generate terahertz. So this gamma 41, this is we call electro-optic coefficient, that is EO coefficient. So EO coefficient of a crystal define the ability to detect the terahertz. So by this we can change, as I said, the refractive index of polarization, and this retardation in polarization gives you the measure of terahertz, and that depends of course on the D. D means the thickness of the crystal, and this is the typical means equation we use, but I will not go much in mathematics. If you are one-to-one communication means it's offline talk, then I will of course go and you can understand easily, but by online it's very difficult. So let's skip this one. Okay, so this is the typical waveform. This is time domain and this is frequency domain. And if you clearly, if you have seen clearly the time profile of antenna and frequency profile of antenna, you can see a difference. For time profile in antenna, this was up to maximum 1.78 terahertz or 2 terahertz. But you see, this is up to 3 terahertz. It's a broadband. It's a broadband, and it's more than 10 to the power 7 times than the antenna. Very, very powerful beam. Okay, then terahertz generation depends on this azimuthal angle. Angle means you have to rotate the crystal to check your polarization. So you see where polarization is maximum, like around 100, you can see 90, 100, 0. So up to that polarization, you will get highest terahertz generation. Okay, detection and generation. So where you will get highest terahertz generation, like 150, 20. So you have to actually get on which angle you will collect, means it's angular phase matching. Okay, then the strength of terahertz generation depends on the thickness of the crystal. If you use 0.1 mm crystal, yani 100 micron, it will be more broadband. You see up to 4.4 or 4.5. If you use half millimeter, 500 micron, you see up to only 3.1. But if you thick crystal, 1 millimeter or 2 millimeter, you will get up to 2.2. So it depends on the thickness also. Okay, so you see, when you use very thick crystal, you will get many Fabry Perot. Fabry Perot, you know Fabry Perot? Means when you shine a pulse on some crystal, due to different layer, the some part gets reflected back, and then from that surface they will come again back. Fabry Perot. But when you use very thin, you will get single Fabry Perot, and this Fabry Perot will enhance your bandwidth. Then you have to do nitrogen purging, means you have to get rid of your atmospheric vapor, water, whatever it is there in ambient air. You have to means take it out and only do nitrogen purging. So there is nothing but only pure nitrogen. So you must use more than 90%. Okay, means more than 90% percentage of pure nitrogen. Because if there is no means ambient air, then the signature of the air, ambient air or water vapor, will reflect in your signature of the material. So like you see air, when we use air as a reference, then you see we have many peaks of air, like at 1.6, 1.2, like 1.2, 1.6, 1.2.1. But when we use pure nitrogen or nitrogen purging, you see clear. So whatever is the signature of the material in this region, we can easily see that this is because of material, not by air. So to summarize, you see, antenna and other things, photonics is here highest power giving as compared to even free electron and antenna or linear accelerator. You see, in this slide, you can easily see that to use a linear accelerator, the power up to 1 millijoule, but same power can be given by lithium niobate. Same power can be given by lithium niobate very easily. So that's why people will go for the crystals. Now, high power terahertz generation, but because of this, we use air एज ए, तो जब लोग बोलते हैं ना, मजाक करते हैं, हम हवा में कुछ बना सकते हैं. सो वी आर आल्सो जनरेटिंग टेराहर्ट्ज इन हवा. हम हवा में टेराहर्ट्ज बना रहे हैं. सो फॉर दिस व्हाट वी हैव टू डू, वी साइन ए ऑप्टिकल पल्स on some lens. By lens, the light get focus, and we use a BBO crystal for the second harmonic light. Okay, and now when this focus light of these two fundamental omega and the second harmonic generated light 2 omega, they co-propagate together and make a focus on some point, and that point will break the air. And this breaking of air using four wave mixing gives terahertz. But you see, in this slide I said up to 1 millijoule, and this may get up only 400 kilovolt per centimeter, highest reported. Okay, so using this four wave mixing and focusing this fundamental light using a BBO crystal, we can generate terahertz. And this is the filament of air plasma. So you can generate terahertz using plasma. Okay, so generation is simple. To generate terahertz, you need a non-centrosymmetric, which we call that, many literally said that you cannot generate by centrosymmetric. So a centrosymmetric light which have second harmonic generation efficiency like BBO. Okay, and the opposite of this one you use for detection, that is we call ABCD. ABCD is nothing but air breakdown coherent detection. ABCD is nothing but air breakdown coherent detection. The same we apply for detection also. Okay, so if we don't use any crystal and we directly focus the light, then also we get terahertz. But you see, signal is very, very small. But if we use a BBO, signal is very high because this one, but the problem is walk-off distance of between these two. But if we use a dichromatic mirror to guide the wave, because they are co-propagating now, instead of this distance, they are co-propagating from here. So some component of this, some component must overlap, and then you will get more terahertz. So this is the typical setup people use to generate, and they sign this optical pulse, and you see the air plasma here. This air plasma gives terahertz. So we call it current surge. And there is debate in between the mechanism. Some people say this is Pondermetric force. Some people say this is air plasma breakdown. Some people say this is four wave mixing, and some people give some new concept. I will tell you that this ADK, tunneling ionization rate, current theory, something like that. But the whole thing is that if we go basic, we found that this terahertz is able to generate from air by tightly focusing it using air plasma. And you see, terahertz can be generated by this, by those you can, but this can do the standoff detection, means up to now people demonstrate up to 100 meter. So if you use terahertz using this one, you can do many like things like you can inspect a disaster site, you can visit a hazardous gas site and detect easily. You see the distance, this distance is more than now people 10, 20, people demonstrate up to 100 and use a terahertz detector here. Okay, so this is terahertz standoff detection up to 100 meter. 100 meter is too high. You see 615 meter, 10 meter, 17 up to 100 now. You see this one on a long distance here. So this is very useful for explosive detection, for hazardous gas detection, for disasters like some bridges collapse, man cannot go, dog cannot go. You can locate the body under the soil. This is also, so these are the detection, as I said, air breakdown in core and design. This is the mechanism for this one. So this is ABCD. I will not go in detail. Okay, these are slides for some technical session. Also, the terahertz strand depends on what femtosecond you are using, either 15 femtosecond, 100 femtosecond, 150 femtosecond, like this. So if you use lower femtosecond, you will get more and more terahertz. You see, if you 32, just up to 20 terahertz. If you get 15, up to you see 100 terahertz. So why terahertz air photonics? We call it terahertz air photonic because it can give a broadband up to 100 terahertz. Crystal give up to 3 terahertz. Antenna give up to 2 terahertz. Okay, that's why. Okay, now one more technique using this novel material, lithium niobate. So maybe there I showed lithium niobate. You see, zinc telluride is up to this efficiency. But you see, this just to motivate you, why lithium niobate. You see up to 1 here, 1, 2, 3, 3 order higher. 3 order means more than 10,000, 10 to the power 3 higher than the normal lithium niobate, zinc telluride. So why lithium niobate? You see, I told you last time these are the materials. These are the novel materials for optical rectification: cadmium telluride, gallium arsenide, gallium phosphate, zinc telluride, gallium selenide. But you see, lithium niobate here is having one of the highest Ki2 value. This defective depends. This is Ki2 value. You say, okay. So but the problem here, you see, this group velocity and terahertz means phase velocity are not same. But for, you see, zinc telluride, these are almost same. So the problem is phase match condition. So one of the thing is to satisfy the phase match condition. To satisfy the phase match condition, we periodically means structure the lithium niobate that it have periods like this. So in this, the phase match condition is satisfied, but the problem is that when you sign this optical pulse here on one period, a cycle, but on another period, it gets multi-cycle, and multi-cycle terahertz gives narrow bandwidth terahertz. So this was not the effective phase match condition. So for another phase match condition, people tried angular phase match condition, you can say, or tilted wavefront technique, in which you cut the crystal with some angle. That angle is known as Cherenkov angle, and that angle, it depends on the refractive index of this one. So if we take group velocity of optical pulse and terahertz velocity, phase velocity, refractive indices, we found this angle to be around 62 to 64 degree, 62 to 64 degree, because of the crystal properties and some other things. And we give a cut to this crystal, and when you sign this optical pulse here, terahertz get generated. You see, terahertz is generated. This is terahertz generation. Okay, and these other things. So you can use, you see, to give tilting, you can use a grating, single grating. You can use a grating and 2 lens, or you nowadays it is possible to have grating inside this one. Okay, whether you use 1:2 lens, 1:1 telescope, or contact grating. You see, contact grating have highest. to satisfy the phase match condition. And this is the typical setup. Typical setup means we take the beam from laser, divide it into two by a beam splitter, and then this beam or the emitter will go through this optics to this grating. This grating gives the tilt, and this tilting by this imaging optics shine on this crystal, lithium niobate. This is cut lithium niobate, and terahertz is generated. And this generated terahertz is guided by these 4 parabolic mirror. Okay, and then another pulse passing through this delay stage will co-propagate collinearly together with this terahertz and fall on this gallium phosphate detector. And by this we generate and detect the terahertz using lithium niobate. And this is the typical setup for animation. You can understand lithium niobate to 4 parabolic setup, this delay stage and like this. So this imaging we have to make more clearly. So this is not easy setup. You see, everything must be nicely synchronized. Everything must be nicely synchronized. Then only we'll get terahertz. And this is the typical setup. This is the grating passing through this imaging optics. You see, very tiny lithium niobate crystal. This tiny lithium niobate crystal beat a very heavy linear accelerator, which is in, you can say, more than 500 acre. And this is just 5 mm by 5 mm. And this is the intense pulse. This is the beam size. Okay. So how this is generated, let's see again. So this optical pulse is fall on this lithium niobate crystal. When this is fall in lithium niobate crystal, due to optical rectification, okay, terahertz is generated. The inside the terahertz generated terahertz will give the phase modulation to this pulse, and then again terahertz is generated, and this inside cascading is happening. Cascading is happening, and this will give very intense terahertz pulse. With this, my word, I thanks. So terahertz is, I will tell in the next lecture that it's Aladdin ka chirag. And terahertz is very useful for our life. With this, my word, last word, terahertz very useful for our life. I thanks. And now. Hello. Hello. हेलो, हाँ सर, आवाज आ रही है? हेलो.
So you are audible.
Yes, yes. So I have finished now.
Sir, whether this radiation is harmful?
No, no, it's not harmful. Because energy is very low. So now people are trying to replace X-ray with T-ray. T means terahertz ray. आप सबने टेराहर्ट्ज का नाम तो सुना है ना? दुचाने जी.
हाँ जी, हाँ
हाँ सर, फिनिश हो गया मेरी तरफ से.
हो गया, कोई बात
हाँ.
नहीं. ओके, एनीबॉडी, कोई क्वेश्चन वगैरह? एनी क्वेश्चंस? ओके ओके, ठीक है देवराज जी ना, थैंक यू वेरी मच है.
थैंक यू वेरी मच सर, थैंक यू.
और डे आफ्टर टुमारो अगेन वन लेक्चर ऑफ यू है ना, एट द सेम टाइम.
हाँ, कल है नहीं, परसों है.
नहीं, परसों मॉर्निंग.
परसों है, ठीक है. परसों इसी टाइम है.
बिल्कुल इसी वक्त.
ठीक सर, थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Participants, next session is 11:45 and I am sending the different link for that session on WhatsApp as well as your email. To join that link, because our this session will be recording. recorded. So having join that link.
ठीक है. Okay. If you have any question, you can ask me later also. Okay. ठीक है सर, फिर मैं साइन आउट करूं.
ठीक है साहब, ठीक है.
Okay. Thank you.
Stop it.